All right.
So I think there are a number of different things that we want to, touch on today, but this is kind of the culmination of a lot of things that have meant a lot to me, and it really got critical mass a couple of weeks ago when I was doing some of the stuff that I'm supposed to do for Gary Con with Luke Gygax, and he and I were talking about how important it is to do charitable things that are supporting the greater community as well. And I kind of put the screws to him. I said, I've had this thing on the back burner for a little while, but I'd really like to put it on the front burner. But critical mass for us is that we need to be able to market it right, and we need to be able to have the right people involved so that it can actually be successful. And he threw his hat in the ring and said he was going to support me, but I needed to get off my butt and actually do it. What it is a merge of two huge passions of mine. One is gaming, and I've been a computer gamer and a role-playing gamer for, well, since computer games, you can see the gray in the beard, since computer games were really available. One of the guys on here, Zombart here, his brother and I were playing the earliest, 8-bit games to all the way through, all of the newest, massively multiplayer RPGs as well. But so that it's that kind of gaming, but it's also D&D. I've been playing since 1980 with D&D. Bart, I think, started getting beat up on by me and his brother probably around 82 or something like that with our red box. But yeah, you combine that gaming with the Lions Club. And if you don't know and you aren't familiar with the Lions Club, it's actually the largest service organization in the world. Over 1.4 million members, and more clubs as well. Not just more members, but more clubs than any other service organization in the world. And the biggest piece of it is too that it is totally focused on service, nothing else. You have a lot of other clubs that exist, and they are great clubs. I have been involved with others, done many service projects with Rotary and Kiwanis and a number of others too. But when it comes down to it, the Lions Club has captured my passion because of their devotion to just pure service. Well, you merge those two things, and what does that really do for us, right? It potentially gives us a lot more ability to reach people, but it also, does it in a way that's actually interesting to a number of people that otherwise might not be as involved in service. I mean, we all watch, game streams and potentially donate to Extra Life and other great gaming things like that. But there are too few opportunities for us to actually get involved and actually do something about it in a way that isn't going to cost us much, if anything, to do as well. And so I wanted to fill that gap. And there are a few people on here. So my daughter Lindsay, who is the other person on stream. There is Chris Snow, who is he is a former Lion, but ditched us and moved to Texas. We're in the Atlanta area, but ditched us and moved to Texas, and so he wasn't able to continue his membership in the club. But then there's also down at the bottom, well, at least on my screen, there's Rob Lefevre, who is also another Lion in my club, but he's also a player in one of my many D&D campaigns too. So obviously there are a lot of us that are passionate about this. And so that you guys know, I've gotten no less than 40 different people already who have said we're really interested in doing this. So it's great that we got 9, 10, 11. We got 11 people here today right now, but we've got 4 times this many who have reached out and said, let me know what you're going. Oh yeah, 12. So let me know what you're doing. Yeah. Yes, I know Dylan's in the room, but let me know what you're doing, and let me help in any way that I possibly can too. So with these two things coming together, I want to be very clear that I'm not going to control whatever happens here. I want it to be a club, and I want that club to control whatever is going to happen. But I have a passion for for mental health issues. And so that's actually part of another 501c3 that I started And then when I reached out, in the beginning to Chris and to Rob and to Bart and to Moose and others of you too, Gus, you too, everybody said, yes, we think that this is a good idea. And we would really support something that's going to focus on mental health issues. Gus and I have done some discussions. Gus is actually in the industry, and I'll let him talk a little bit about what he does later. But I have talked to a number of different people. I have also done projects for the Wounded Warrior Project and many others, that are really focused on mental health awareness and taking care of people with mental health issues, whether that's autism or PTSD or anxiety disorders or other things like that. All of the above are really they're really relevant, and unfortunately, they're really prevalent now too. Yeah, try to say those two things together. I think that COVID didn't do us any favors with regards to mental health issues. I think that there are probably a lot more, that we don't even acknowledge that we're dealing with now too because of it. But certainly something that I've been passionate about, and so I wanted to put the word out, and I did. And when I did, like I said, we had over 40 people that ended up reaching out saying, hey, let me know exactly what you're doing because I'm interested in doing this too. So what does that actually look like? What I'm asking people to do is to be involved in a gaming group that they're going to get benefits out of, and we'll talk about that too. But that is going to probably twice a year do fundraising. So maybe a summer and a winter, fundraiser that is going to be around gaming. And I've mentioned a little bit about this, but in some of the posts, but I will, kind of go into a little bit more detail. There would be things like celebrities who would participate in role playing games. And so, whether you had Jason Charles Miller running a game, or whether you've got Luke Gygax or Margaret Weiss participating in a game, you would have tables where you could have people bid on those things. The other gaming aspect, like that role playing gaming aspect of that, would be people that would actually, like us as people who would run games, actually running games for a $10 donation. So you get to get into a game for a $10 donation. You have 4 to 8 seats in your game, and you're able to help raise that money. And then I guess and obviously we also could play in games, but we would be the ones making the donation then, instead of just being the one donating our time for that. But then there are other games as well, like esports tournaments, which Lindsay and Dylan have experience running. And we would add those types of events to the gaming as well. And we could do any other types that we wanted to. And again, I'm not trying to put any restrictions on it, but just throwing it out there, my hope would be that we could raise maybe somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 at our very first one that we would potentially do, and we give ourselves plenty of time to plan for that too. So you do that a couple of times a year, and you may have $10,000 a year that we can donate to some very worthy cause. And the reason why I'm kind of picking that once a year timing for that is because of what I know you can do with the Lions Club too. So with the Lions Club itself, you would be able to potentially leverage the Lions Club's International Foundation. LCIF is their financial arm, and basically it makes sure that you can leverage monies that you've already made to do some great things that go beyond just what that amount of money is. And usually it's a matching donation. You bring 50% to the table, they bring 50% to the table. There are rules about it. Like, it's going to be something where it would have to be kind of project based or contained and with tangible benefits that you can obviously write up and they would approve. But I've gone through this many times, and all the types of things that I was thinking about, and even some additional things going over with Gus earlier today, would all be things that might fall into the realm of what's very doable. And again, talking about like like if somebody at a mental health hospital needed help remodeling a kitchen, or we wanted to donate specifically to a project that, say, the Wounded Warriors were doing, and they needed additional funding to take care of that. You need, and this was one that Gus and I were talking about, to have scholarships for some of the mental health programs that he is involved in. So all of those would be the types of things that we'd be able to also get some matching. But let me back it up just a second and ask if there are any questions so far. And then I want to talk a little bit more about the Lions Club in general and what it would mean to us to actually be a Lions Club. And it's a virtual club. So any questions so far?
None here.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I did have a question. It took me a minute to get the mute button off. So, in general, what kind of time commitment would you expect from club members to be involved with these fundraising type projects?
So for the fundraising, it really is twice a year, and it's going to take some planning too, right? So there's going to be some planning, but honestly, most of these events are things that you need marketing time for, but that marketing is social media, right? We would be able to do that. And one of the things that I haven't said yet specifically is I run social media and communications for GaryCon. And so, like, I've already got a large network that's available to us. And, I am, my day job is I work for a digital marketing company. I'm an executive there. But my background is very technical. I'm an enterprise architect, and I understand all of these digital marketing platforms, whether it's campaign management, content management, all of those types of things. So I'm in the industry from a marketing standpoint. I understand the technology extremely well. I know the gaming groups really well, and so I'm very excited about our ability to do it with actually relatively low amounts of need for the event itself. It would be primarily that you are available to, help the, leading up to, and whether that's getting ready to run a game or during it to actually run a game. And there would be some other people that may want to help with some of the marketing and messaging and other things like that. And I welcome all of that, but it really is something where truly there are 2 weekends a year that I'm asking people to, be available for maybe 8 hours across that weekend. And so that's the amount that's needed in order for us to really be successful, I think, which, 16 hours a year is not a lot from a volunteer standpoint. I'm probably, going on about 16 hours a week right now. But it's something that I think we easily get to that point with especially with all of the people who are looking for additional things to do right now. To help other people, that is. Does that make sense?
That's a great answer, and it gives me a good idea where we're going. And you'll have to excuse my dog in the background here.
Yeah, all of them. So the dogs at Lindsay's and the dogs at your place, not a problem. So
don't forget the 3 here.
Yeah. So that's my other daughter who just joined. So Breezy is dog sitting for her grandmother. But just to give credit where credit's due here, right? I told you guys who the Lions were earlier, but Breezy is also a Lion as well in the Alpharetta Lions Club here in the Atlanta area. So let's talk a little bit about the Lions Club too. So when you form a Lions Club, they have some basic rules that everybody has to follow. The most basic of all of them are that you got to be totally transparent with your money. They say that every single penny that you collect from the public has to go back to the public and to charity. Okay. So there's no mixing of any funds of any kind, like that would be, and we call them administrative funds, and administrative would be what we need to kind of run things. And then activities funds is what I'm talking about when I talk about those charitable donations and other things like that people would make in order to actually, give a scholarship or build a soup kitchen or whatever it is that we would need to do with our monies. So that's the most important piece of it by far and away. With the Lions Club, they expect you to have officers. They expect you to have a president, a vice president, secretary, treasurer, and I think those are the only ones that are absolutely required. And even so, not everybody has to have all of those, but typically the way that we also do it is we have like a board of directors, and that board of directors has one representative for every 10 members of a club, so that you make sure that you've got good representation across all aspects of the club. And it's something where with what we would do, we want to make sure that somebody who is a expert in a certain area, might like we would make sure that there are esports representation on the board, or we'd make sure that there's role playing and virtual tabletop role playing expertise and so on. But another piece of this too is that how we want to run a club is up to the club. In my club, which meets in person, we have a policy which I would certainly recommend to everybody here. But officially, the voting members of a club that control the business of the club are those elected members. We have a policy in our club that says anybody who is willing to show up to the meeting, the meeting where we do business, is welcome to vote on what we do. And so we would be able to do that. But I certainly want to recommend that is a policy that we adopt, that basically every voice is a voice that counts. And if somebody is willing to take their time out to actually participate in what the business of the club is, that they get a say in what actually goes on as well. And again, that's just a recommendation, but as we form this and figure it out, we can determine exactly what some of those policies and rules are that we would like. So there is a cost associated with running a Lions Club, and that cost is made up of dues that are international dues, that are dues for the district that your club is represented in, and dues for the multi-district that your club is represented in. So we are actually starting this as one that is virtual, but it is located, and we would be part of the district that I'm in, which is District 18L, and it's in Georgia. But the total cost associated with that is $5 in dues, $5 per person per month. So it's a total of $60 per year. Now, an important thing that I need to bring up here too is that our club that all of us belong to, that I mentioned earlier, or used to in Chris's case, used to belong to, we have said that it is very important that we continue to expand what's going on from a Lions and Lions participation standpoint. And we are willing to make an investment in membership, whether it's our club or in other clubs that we would potentially sponsor, to make sure that happens. And to do that, I want to be clear that there are people that have basically stood up and said, hey, we want to make sure that money is not a barrier to entry for anybody. And so we're going to adopt that. They've made sure that we as a new club would be able to say that, and that's great. The other piece of this too is that we are in a demographic that has, well, I don't want to say that I'm a grognard. I'm not one of those. I'm not quite that generation, but I certainly am old and grumpy now. Thanks for the eyebrow. I certainly am old and grumpy now too, but we have a fantastic.
Well, that just happened. That just now happened.
Hey,
I mean, he is 50 now.
say, Bart, you're next.
He is
Yep.
50.
I've been old and grumpy since I was
Half a
14.
decade old.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you jumping in there to help spread the love around a little bit.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being old and grumpy. 14
right.
years old, a grumpy opinionated kid that fits in at the table with 50-year-old men about the diners bitching about the Republican Party. Okay, I blended
Amen
right
to
in.
that. Yes, no doubt.
Yeah, but his kids can't miss an opportunity to tease him about it either.
Well, and I would think less of you if you missed the opportunity.
I figured.
Yeah. So, but what I was trying to say about the demographics that we appeal to, it's great, right? So you have, 19-year-olds like Breezy. You got 21-year-olds like Lindsay. You got.
Listen, I'm
No,
almost 22.
no.
You can only stay 21 for one more week.
I know you got one more week, but you also have 22-year-olds like Moose. So yeah, Moose is, yep, that's right. So
Dylan's 24.
yep. Anyway, my point is made. It's great because we spread all of those demographics, but what that means too is that not everybody has an established job and is able to take care of dues and other things like that too. But one of the important things that I should mention too, and we do this in my club, in the Alpharetta Club, is that we have administrative fund fundraisers. And what those are is those are fundraisers that only fundraise with other Lions. Now, I haven't, because I didn't want to pat myself on the back at all, but I am heavily involved in Lions International. So I actually, I was the guy that was in charge of my club. I was the guy that was in charge of my district, which is roughly 1,250 people. I was the guy that was in charge of my state, which was roughly 5,000 people. And then I was the guy that was in charge of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, which was about 25,000 people. So I know the right people for us to obviously be able to reach out to those. And it's not just that I know them. I've passed that on to others like Lindsay and Rob and many others too, who will definitely help us out and be able to continue some of that. But the point being is that we would be able to do certain things. And Lindsay, I'd like for you to show your stickers, right?
Okay, yeah, let me go grab them really quickly.
Okay, so we could, and I think you guys know, like this demographic, the gaming demographic loves stickers. I could show you all of my kids' laptops and everything else, but they love these stickers and stuff like that. Well, we can actually make stickers that they would be interested in, and it's also something where people like Luke Gygax may, say, oh yeah, you can actually, that he would donate part of his stickers that we might be able to make to what we're doing too. And those types of things just here and there, those might be fundraisers that we could sell to other Lions that would easily turn around and benefit us. But beyond that, and a couple of you guys were asking about local stores. My store last night, so basically we had about 15 people in the store last night who were all expressing interest in this, but they would potentially put these things out and sell them for us, and we could they would be members of the club and would contribute to it as well as an administrative fund fundraiser. But the idea is it doesn't have to be that. This is just one little idea for how to do that, but we would be able to raise funds so that nobody who is in need ever has to worry about not being able to pay for dues and other things like that. Lindsay, you want to show your stickers? I think these are pretty cool. So, yep. So this is the logo for GaryCon, one of the logos for GaryCon this year. And so it's GaryCon 15, and those are some battle axes that go along with the barbarian fighter that is actually, yep, there you go. Nice. But anyway, like I said, we can make stickers and come up with other ideas too. But the idea would be is that we have a few of these things that we basically just do year round that would enable us to not have to ever worry about paying for dues, especially when you've got the younger demographic that might need us to take care of that. All right, what else do I need to talk about? The process, I guess. Right?
Hey,
let me.
I'm sorry. Can you clarify one thing on the dues for me? I'm not worried about the cost, but when I talk to other people, I want to be able to be sure that I'm correct. When you said that dues come out to be $60 a year, was that just the district dues, or is it or is that all inclusive between the international and the district?
Yep, that is 100% of everything. The international is actually more, and there's a lot that actually comes with that too. So the international, the main thing that would matter to every club is that you're insured. Basically, any event that we would have would be insured for anything that might happen. So if somebody was in a game and something inappropriate ended up happening, God forbid, we would actually have insurance that would totally take care of us for any of those types of things. But there's a Lions Club magazine that you get for that. There's also a lot of work that goes on around Lions International to actually manage, the entire organization. And all of that is just, incredible. I would love to host anybody who would ever come to Atlanta for to show you around and show you some of the things that we do. But Jimmy Carter, who is a Lion, started the Carter Center. And I think you guys are probably aware the Carter Center does a huge amount of charitable work across the world. Mainly, one of the main things that they do is measles and measles prevention. But basically, if you get immunized one time, you're safe. The same is true of river blindness, which is based on a parasite that comes in water. But the Lions Club works on both of those things, basically worldwide, to make sure that we're able to prevent blindness, that we're able to get rid of measles and other things like that too. But we do so much good stuff with that and we've got a lot of that here in the Atlanta area too, that if you guys are ever here, I would certainly welcome you guys to give me a call and help show you around what some of those great things are. But LCI is actually based outside of Chicago. It's Oak Brook, Illinois is where it's based. And they end up, running this charitable business that has 1.4 million members across the world, and that's what your $45 of that every year goes to international, and then 15 of that is what goes to state and local. And so it's just the minimal amount that's necessary to handle things like communication and owning websites and other things like that. Also, with regards to budget, I am hoping that we are in agreement, and we won't have to vote on this necessarily until we actually have our first organizational meeting and get official members in and start doing things. But we can have our own expenses. We just need to make sure that is already paid for, that we've raised administrative funds so that we could do things. So if we wanted to, like LCI provides a tool that lets us have a website. That website is not ideal. It's called a Clubhouse website. And so it's not ideal. And when I say it's not ideal, first of all, when you guys look at it, you'll go, oh, is that really a website? And the second thing is you'll say, oh, that doesn't really fit virtual clubs, because it's really focused on the information around clubs that meet in person. But if we wanted to do something on our own, sure, we're welcome to do that. We just need to make sure that we've raised the money first in order to do that. Does that make sense, Jerry?
Absolutely. I appreciate the time.
Yep, no problem. So when you're talking to other people, let's assume right now that the cost associated with a membership is $60 per year. Okay. And basically that should never be a barrier to entry for anybody that wants to help other people. And so the club and what we're doing, we are all very willing to make sure that we will be able to say yes to everybody that wants to actually be a member. Okay. And we haven't talked about any logistics that would go around this, but basically you would potentially send out a dues statement that says, hey, do you need a scholarship for your dues, or are you able to pay the dues? And people will privately respond back however they want. Nobody else needs to know or worry about how somebody fills that out. All right. So any other questions? Yeah, Toad, go ahead.
You mentioned that the dues through the end of this Lions year are paid for.
I haven't explicitly said that, but yes, that's what I was implying when I said that our club has stepped up and said, we're willing to make an investment. And there's some
I
individuals.
She said that. I did have to walk away to go look at something. Really
Yep. No problem.
To be sure.
Yep. So yeah, initiation fees and dues are taken care of. Oh, and the Lions year actually is 6 months off from the calendar year. The Lions year runs July to June. And so again, to her point, we are going to make sure that things are taken care of through the end of the year. Okay, end of the Lions year. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the process. This is the first part of the process that everybody sees. Obviously, there was some planning behind the scenes to send out email messages and send out messages on Discord and other things like that too. But first, we have some informational meetings where we're able to share this information with any and everybody who is interested, and hopefully we can drum up that level of interest that gets us to the size that we need for a club. And that level of interest is 21 people. So as soon as we have 21 people that fill out applications, we will actually be able to officially charter the club. Now, when we officially charter the club, then what happens is that we then set up a meeting for basically the charter night. And it would be a meeting that we would have, and obviously a virtual meeting where we would all get together and kind of have make a big deal out of starting the club, right? The reason why that matters is not because we all need to pat ourselves on the back or anything like that, but it's actually a timing thing, because anybody who joins within 90 days of us forming the club is actually considered a charter member. And sometimes people really like that they get that charter member status. You actually do get a charter member pin that you would receive for actually being part of a brand new club that would be formed.
What? No sticker?
We'll make sure that there's a sticker too, Chris.
All right.
Yep.
The kids like the stickers.
Yes. So in order to form a new club, we have a sponsor club as well. And so my club, Rob's club, Lindsay and Peyton's club, it is our club that has said we are willing to sponsor this new virtual club. And they are responsible for helping us and guide us and, figuring out, what kind of additional help it is that we need. Obviously, our involvement would be related to that. Chris, who has been very experienced in the Lions Club, but has been out of our club, is going to be a member of this new club. Lindsay is going to transfer her membership into this club and be an associate member with my other club. And that's actually a designation in membership types, whether you're a regular member or an associate member. And there are other types that we can have, and you can define your own types if you want to. But it usually it centers around like what rights you have as a member, that actually belong to you. But we can figure that out. But like, I'm going to be an associate member of this club and keep my main membership in the Alpharetta Club as well. And I think Rob's in the same boat too. So anyway, but we as a club have a responsibility. The Alpharetta Lions have a responsibility to the virtual gaming club to help make sure that we get all of the help that we need. We also have a district governor and that's the person who was over that roughly 50 something clubs, or 50 clubs and 1,250 members that I mentioned earlier. The district governor is actually the one who submits the paperwork for forming the new club, so he gets involved as well. It is he right now, but let's see, who do we have in line? We just had Pam, who just went out, so she's the past district governor, and we got Dennis next year. So Dennis Chapman is from my club, and he's going to be the district governor next year. But anyway, my point is actually just to kind of give you guys some insight into the hierarchy or the roles that we do have in the Lions Club. And then let me think about this. we would have prior to charter night, we would also have an organizational meeting. And at that organizational meeting, we would like elect our first set of officers that would belong to the club. So we would be able to go ahead and do that. So leading into all of the business and whatnot, we would have people that would already, you know, be our official officers going in there. So I think that's probably it from a process standpoint. Let me look real quickly just to see if there's something else that I was missing. And y'all feel free to ask questions while I'm looking at my list of things. Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Ideas myself. I've been a streamer, and I know Chris has streamed previously, and my fiance Dylan has been a streamer in the past. And for those of us who, for people who actually make money off of streaming, it might be something you might be interested in, and perhaps raising a portion for the charity, having streams that are charity related, all of us together. Little things like that could possibly ramp up interest as well. Because I know Chaotic Good Gaming will likely mention it on streams. Dad, I assume that would be the case.
Yep.
And so for people who have bigger crowds, and because this is going to be something that so many people theoretically will be interested in. I've had a bunch of my friends tell me that they've been looking for something that does a little more charity stuff, but is more aligned with their interest, because it seems that there's not always a lot of things that seem to be helping where people want to be helping, at least for people my age. And so having streams that a lot of people watch, where you're advertising the club, basically saying, hey, you know, a portion of anything raised today will go to the club. You don't even have to do that, even if you just promote us. That that visual will be enough. Like, that promotion will be more than enough. So, and that might also offer all of us different ways to help out throughout the year with stuff we're probably already doing anyways.
Mentioned Chaotic Good Gaming as a organization yet, or not in any level of detail, but it is a charity, and basically I'm planning on, if this club gets off the ground, not if, when this club gets off the ground, I'm planning on donating most of the proceeds from Chaotic Good Gaming to us here. And what it is competition for Start Playing and for, you know, Baldwin Games and all the others who have paid for DM services. And so I've actually got a website up and running already. It was just informational and getting people to sign up, but we're actually about to go live with the, I say about, it's probably going to be 2 months before we go live. I'm really hopeful that we do that before the, before GaryCon, so that when I'm at GaryCon, I can point everybody to it. But it handles all of the event and game registration and signing up and other things like that too. But one of the benefits to it, and I thought about typing something out when who was the woman from the UK that was chatting with us? Crap. Hold on. Let me look real quickly. LCI, was it in information or LCI general? It was general. So it was Vidania who was asking, you know, about what kind of games and stuff like that too. I've actually, the software that I'm having developed will be totally available to us to run our own. If any of you have either done things on Warhorn or crap, who were the guys that just broke up that did pickup games? I guess that was Pug. It was the Pug group, right? For Fantasy Grounds, FG Pug. So this is something that manages all of those types of events, and it can manage any type of sign up event that we got too. But if we wanted to, not if, when we want to organize our own games and basically have our own, entire community of pickup games and other things like that, we can have them listed on here. and have our own section of the website that we'll actually be able to do for all of this. But just to show you guys the new version of the website. Yeah. All right, so this is the design work that my creative team actually did for me. So that looks similar, but here's just showing the drop downs at the top, our login modal, our forgot password modal. All right, so this is a good one. This is our About Us page. And by the way, all of this artwork that's here is the artwork that I've either created or had other people create and licensed, so that so that it's actually an awesome looking website and ready for us now too. So I guess that's enough plugging my stuff too. But what questions does everybody have? Let me jump in with absolutely anything is on the table. So don't hesitate to ask. And then I want to call on a couple of other people to say a couple of things.
I seem to have.
What were you saying, Jerry?
I was going to say I seem to have all the questions. From the time that we hit that 21 member mark and actually start all the paperwork, to what's the timeline generally to the club being officially sanctioned?
The club is officially sanctioned when we have 21 members.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, let me say that with 21 applications, those applications have to be turned in, and it is a very short turnaround from taking those to being official. I would say it's probably about a week after we get 21 applications.
Oh, very quick.
Now,
Yep.
even though, once we get those applications, there's no reason why we can't go ahead and start, making some tentative plans.
Yep.
So if you're eager to get started on something, we can definitely get the discussions rolling.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I guess I didn't drill into as much detail on, which maybe we should talk about a little bit more, is what we want to do with our monies, right? So what are the things that are important? I think that should be a constant conversation, but I also think that realistically we don't have to make any hard and fast decisions for a little bit, other than the fact that we know that we're going to be devoted to mental health issues and mental health awareness right now. So I know that a lot of us have experience with, whether it's a family member or ourselves that, that deal with, different mental health things. But Gus, as somebody who is in the industry and is a gamer and is, an educator as well, why don't you, tell us a little bit about your background and why you feel passionate about this?
Yeah, I'd love to. Hey, everybody. My name's Gus, and yeah, I've been, playing D&D since the '80s, and I became a special education teacher. Also, have worked in a couple of different areas of the mental health field. And gosh, about 4 years ago, I actually started having some mental health issues of my own, mostly anxiety and stuff like that. But I ended up coming across a group of psychologists and psychiatrists that use games like D&D to actually work with their clients in therapy sessions. And I did some of the training with them and kind of got the philosophy behind what they were doing. And it just kind of made sense. And there's, I think as gamers who have done it for a while, you realize there's something calming about it. There's it's a different sense of socialization or whatever. And it seems to help with a lot of mental health issues, oddly enough. So I've been doing the training with these people at Game to Grow, and they have created a role-playing game of their own, something called Critical Core, which is it's basically it's a 5e light system, if you will, and they use it with kids, teens, some adults as well, and it's just it's kind of an introduction to role-playing games, and it's a way to actually kind of embed things that have to do with mental health issues into your games without overdoing it, without railroading it, without trying to bullshit people. Anyway, it's a pretty effective system. They're a really effective group, and essentially they train psychologists, psychiatrists, and teachers to use role-playing games in their own private practices. They are a charity. So anyway, so it's led me to start working with kids groups and some in person, a lot online, mostly using Fantasy Grounds. And I actually had somebody build a rule set for their Critical Core game. So it's now, well, it's available if I tell you how to get a hold of it, but it's available on Fantasy Grounds to use. So what I really liked about Garner's idea is it takes two things that, like he said, that he loved and puts them together, that he's passionate about. And what I think maybe this group can do for us, and we can do for them too, is I'm thinking possibly they can share some of their kind of background and expertise, and maybe we can do some of the same with them. They also might be a group that is kind of an easy group to target with a small charity giving, like $500 to to put a couple of people through their courses, take a couple of teachers and put them through the courses that they offer and get more people out there playing games with kids. So that's just one of the thoughts. So it's an idea of maybe where to put small money until there's big money to be thrown around. I don't know. So that's just some of my thoughts. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to try to give Garner some posts with some information about some different groups. The other thing about these groups too, they tend to be a little bit more rebellious, which I like. They don't follow these behavioral guidelines that a lot of groups use with kids. They're really into more of the fun of it, and you're going to get something out of it when you're playing. They're not trying to force things on them. So anyway, it's a good organization. I'll give you some more information on Game to Grow.
Cool. That's awesome. What other questions y'all have? Anybody want to share any thoughts that you've got just about, whether it's, interests that you have and how you want to use your time, or how we could, make this thing a better, stronger, engine for good? So go ahead.
I was going to say, well, first of all, I've definitely, from what I've heard here tonight, I'm really impressed with it, and am very much. I'm a veteran myself, and when you talk about mental health issues, I'm wearing my 22 a day shirt. For those who are veterans, know that is a reference to veteran suicides, which is something near and dear to my heart.
Yep.
To prevention. So I am all in on this, and I fully intend on joining this club. So my question though is, and thank you for sending me the application. How do I've been kind of starting to fill it out as we were talking here. Where do I send this to? I'll cut the check and have it in the mail Monday.
Awesome.
You can
So
tell
we're
me.
gonna make it a lot easier for you. Rob has already created a page on the Alpharetta website, Alpharetta Lions Club website, for us to have new members sign up for us, and it's basically a simplified version of the application. It's all the required information that we needed for the application. But Lindsay, would you go ahead and post that both in chat for this, and then also in chat for the put it in everything, right? Put it in our.
Yeah, of course. I can do that. Just give me 1 minute to grab that link.
Sure. So you can just fill out the online form with the fields that are necessary for that.
Do you want just the online form sheet, or do you want the information sheet as a whole?
No, just the online form, like just the link.
Okay.
The link to what Rob put together.
Okay. I was just double checking because there is some other information on the form that might be useful.
There you go. So, and
Which you put in that in the LCI information?
I'm
chat?
putting them a little bit everywhere. So
Oh,
that
okay.
and then
Okay,
yeah.
I see it. Super.
Yep. Before we collect money, we need to establish some accounts. And realistically, like when you're doing it in person, it's easy because like I, as an organizer, could just say, okay, hand me all the money, hand me your check and we'll take care of it. I've been talking to Chris about exactly how we want to do this. And I think that again, we have to make sure that we are, totally transparent with what we're doing. These are administrative funds. Again, it's funds related to us running the club, not funds that we have to give back to the public. But we need to make sure that we've got a very clear tally on who, what we've received from whom, and how we're going to, actually use those. So Chris and I will get more information as far as like exactly how we want to set up those accounts. But we're going to run virtually. We're going to use PayPal and Venmo and others like that to make sure that we can have international members and not worry about it. That we'll be able to take care of a true virtual organization too. But we'll probably have more information on that within the week. So that everybody can see it. And again, it is so important for us to be totally transparent about those types of things. One other very cool thing that I mentioned in my write-up, but I haven't said anything about today, is that we would have regular meetings and we would have, guest speakers at those meetings. That would be a meeting like I fully intend that as soon as we're done with GaryCon, which is at the end of March, whatever that next meeting is, which would probably end up being our big charter night meeting, we would get guests to come in, and we would get somebody like Luke Gygax to come in and like be our charter night speaker to talk to us, let us talk to him about whatever we want. I tell you guys, for us at GaryCon, this OGL thing was crazy because I'm with all of those grognards and all of the Gygax family and everybody else who experienced so much pain and suffering the last time around that there were all these licensing issues with TSR and with Wizards of the Coast. And so that what side of the fence they sit on. But we as an organization had to make sure that we were kind of above the argument. We have, and don't go say, well, I'm going to say don't go saying, but Chris is recording this and people will see this too. It is very likely that we will get a pre-screening, which is only like by a week, of the new Paramount Dungeons and Dragons movie at GaryCon this year. So I had just gotten done with the presentation that we were developing about GaryCon to give to Paramount. So Wizards was already working with us, and we were going to have that given, or Wizards did give that to Paramount, and it was well received. But anyway, like those are the types of business things that we had to do, or that we have to do regularly. And we couldn't get publicly embroiled in all of this. Although all of our guests are also people that were all like, whether it was like Ryan Delaney, right? I mean, the guy who came up with OGL 10A. These are people who were, going off, and obviously expressing their points of view too. But the point really being that we had to run that like a real business, and had to be above reproach. But our ability now to go back and potentially talk to Luke about some of the details and stuff like that, like that's the type of stuff that we're allowed to sit down at a fireside chat with Luke and in a regular meeting and do. And so I would like for us to have one meeting a month that we do like that, where we have a special guest come in, and talk to us. And it could be Skip Williams, or it could be, Monty Cook. One of the guys who is from my local gaming store was saying, yeah, I'll do anything for you if you get me Monty Cook. But we certainly have those types of connections, and would gladly, welcome people who are, in the industry to come in and do those conversations with us. Now, the other thing that I didn't say anything about yet, but I'll throw out there, is we have another guy, and his name is Greg Haven. And Greg goes by G-Rex on Fantasy Grounds Academy and with SmiteWorks and everybody else. But he runs the organized play stuff that we do with Fantasy Grounds. And so he runs that Traveler stuff. He runs the Paizo organized play. Fortunately, Violet has come back, and she's going to pick up the AL stuff that she was doing previously, so that he's got more time to go. So we're excited that she's done with her grad school work and is able to come back and do that too. But my point is that we've got a guy already who runs, and by the way, he's running the virtual gaming events for GaryCon as well. But he runs these events where we have, somewhere between 20 and 50, maybe 100 games across that event. We don't have to worry about not having an expert already to help us run our 2 fundraisers each time, right? So we've got the expertise already in place to really help us organize those things. And so it's not like we're going to have to reinvent the wheel in order to do what we were talking about from a fundraising events twice a year standpoint. So all right, I think I've kind of gone over all of the things that I wanted to, but I mean, other questions? You guys want to just chat about things? I mean, anything is game here.
Well, I'm happy to know that Violet is back. I saw that mention, and I don't know if anybody else knows her, but she is awesome.
Yeah.
She was the first person to teach me how to use Fantasy Grounds.
Awesome.
And unfortunately, nobody has come close to what she
If
does.
you were the first person to teach you, then you learned at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So we had to teach all of the Comic-Con people and some of the Fantasy Grounds people, because Fantasy Grounds had employed it was a woman for marketing, and I forget who she was, but cosplayer who normally does streaming and other stuff like that. But we had to teach her and another group of people, and we got to a point where we were like just give us the Comic-Con people, and it was great to get together with Violet, and she was able to do that too. But yes, I totally remember that. That was awesome.
Yeah. So that's oh, and the other thing, I'm really happy to hear that Lindsay is on board here, because I might be the oldest one in the group here, but I've started playing with people that are in their 20s. And I mean, we have such a great time, and I think they would be really on board. But I think they'd be a lot more on board when they see a couple of younger faces. So that's awesome.
So I've already said yes. Peyton, my little sister, so
Hello.
Brady,
Hi, Peyton.
she's also pretty much on board, and she's only a couple years younger, so she's 19.
I'm 19.
My fiance is almost 24, so I have a bunch of different friends already. My friend Caitlin's already on board. She's 21. Yeah, I think. But there's a bunch of us, and I have some big crowds that I'm gonna reach out to and gauge their interest. I know having dues is a little intimidating for some of the younger crowd.
Yeah.
And they're like, another thing to pay
Yeah.
for?
I'm even thinking, some of the people I'm thinking of, I'll try to figure a way to sponsor, I think, because I think, having younger people with really super creative ideas that play, and also that run different games is, that's money in the bank.
Yeah. And people like Moose, who are also 22 as well. There's a bunch of us that are looking at this from the point of view of it's only $60 a year, but even then we have scholarship options available for people, and we don't want that's the big thing that Dad's always emphasized to me as a Lion. We will never let dues, like he said earlier, we will never let dues get in the way of people who want to do a good thing. That's incredibly important to us. And so I'd love to see more people or closer in age to myself And already having Moose here and Peyton and Dylan and my friend Caitlin, having these younger folks that are interested is really exciting to me because I love the Alfred Alliance, but I was the youngest member for a long time. So
If
Just
I
2
may.
years.
you're right. Peyton was the youngest member right after me, but she didn't join right at 18.
Okay.
So it was closer to 3. So,
Yeah.
but it's really exciting to have a Lions Club that'll have such a wide variety of folks too.
Go ahead, Eric. You're getting ready. Oh, you got the microphone set up. You are ready to talk, buddy. It's the little flashing red button.
Is that thing on?
Nope. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Is this working?
If I may, if you can hear me all right.
Yeah, we hear you, Moose. Go ahead.
I know personally that I've been in Boy Scouts since I was a little Cub Scout all the way up to Eagle Scout, and we paid dues $5 every week. So personally, I don't really have a problem with paying $5 a month. And if it's especially to a good cause as this, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
I have been described by fellow friends that I have the body of Goliath, but the brain of the stone that killed him. I will do my best to give ideas to the group. I'm not exactly the most tech savvy when it comes to streaming or audio design, but when it comes to the on-site projects and workshop, I'd be happy to lend my strength there.
Absolutely.
I can do Twitch overlays and other things. I'm actually quite adept at
Mhm.
making them.
Oh, that's
I-
excellent.
I also would like to learn how to do the Twitch stuff and audio engineering. If anyone is just happen to be doing it, I can hop into that voice call and just listen to like what they have to, what they
Audio I can't help
know.
you with. I still have
Yeah,
crazy audio issues every time I go live.
I don't see why we
Ooh.
couldn't have a streaming support group,
Yep.
within this, because if we're going to be an online presence, virtual presence, it's I think a lot of us are going to be doing that kind of stuff to try to help
It's a great idea.
with the fundraising efforts.
Especially with you being as good of a streamer or as experienced of a streamer as you are, Chris, if that might be something that would be awesome for you to spearhead if you had the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I am one of the worst streamers ever that absolutely loves doing it. So yeah, that's me.
So,
You don't stream to make money. You stream because you love doing it.
That you are precisely correct.
although my son thinks that he's going to make a living at it, so
Yeah.
know.
Everybody goes in with delusions of ninja.
that's right.
it's Tate's
so-
funny.
Yeah. So, Jerry, you were talking about your local club or your local store, game store. And like I said, mine also last night. So Moose and I were playing Magic last night, and we had the opportunity to talk to one of the store owner and managers and a number of other people that are working there too. But they are totally into wanting to figure out how can they, support this. One the main guy, already knows and understands what the Lions were about, and so he was really interested. When we started talking about it too. But I think we need to give some more thought to exactly how we would engage with others. Like this is going to be a virtual club, but how do we turn around and engage others with a physical presence? I think that you probably still plan to do like that same 2 weekends a month. You would plan to do some local things, and if any of us can coordinate, maybe we put together kind of a packet that says, okay, guys, here's kind of a blueprint, but do it however you want to do it. Too, but I think we need to spend some time thinking about that for some of the details. But
I was kind of curious if you were thinking of tabletop in conjunction with virtual, particularly like to get away. The board game, the RPGs do really nice and easy from in a virtual, but if you wanted to do regular board games, if you will, the traditional tabletop game,
right,
along lines of like Scythe
or TCGs, right? I mean, so Anybody who doesn't know, TCG is the trading card game, so it's like Magic the Gathering,
Right.
Pokemon, others like that too. But yeah, I'm a huge Catan fan, and everything else too. So I love board games.
losing at Catan.
Dylan's cheering in the background. He loves Catan.
Lindsay absolutely
I hate
despises Catan.
But what's crazy is the only reason I hate Catan is because for years, Mom and Dad and Peyton tried to force me to play.
But it's so
And-
much fun. You told me
No,
you played. We made the Lego one that you sent me on Instagram.
Listen. If somebody tells me to do something, I don't want to do it. That's how this works. When it comes to stuff like this, don't you talk about Monopoly. It's not allowed.
This is
Hello.
completely
You're a
off
cheater.
topic, but based on like the thing with like the in-person like tabletop things, how would a Lego building competition be? I know it's not exactly gaming,
I love it.
but
That'd be fun.
Like Lego charades.
Like, Garner's eyes just lit up over here. It's great. But, yeah, so the way I think of it is it's a virtual gaming club. I mean, the club is virtual, and it's about gaming. So that doesn't exclude us having the real life tabletop events. I think that would be great, and I would love to have some variety in there. I mean, it's shoot, if we want to have a Lego building competition, I don't see why that couldn't be shoehorned to fit in.
Well, the challenge with that is you got to have a big old pile of Legos.
oh, and we definitely don't have that at all, Dad.
No, Peyton. When you do a Lego building competition, you need like 10 times
Yeah,
we have at our house.
yeah, that's
And we
true.
have a lot.
So
Yeah,
But
So,
yeah.
you could pair up with the local Lego store too, potentially.
Oh, that'd be
that might be
I was
something.
thinking a Lego store that Lego has their own attractions in several cities that I'm sure they could always use a little extra publicity about helping various causes. I would hope that they would be receptive to that at least. So
For us,
maybe a partnership there
Flint.
could be a possibility. But yeah, any of the tabletop stuff I think is fair game. I don't think anything we can really exclude at this time.
Yep.
There were some questions earlier about what's the expectation, what do you need to do, how much time is this going to take, and the baseline that Garner laid out is, okay, we really want you to participate in the annual events, right? Help out. But there's also the monthly meetings, which, in our live club, not everybody comes to every monthly meeting. People are busy, but being virtual, it should be fairly easy to attend. And so, but then you start to say, well, if you want to participate more, somebody's got to do various jobs within the club, whether it's figuring out who's going to speak, whether it's doing minor events compared to the annual things, but hey, let's organize, a gaming night, or let's organize blank, 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 right? So there's always things you can put in the minimum and probably be happy doing it, especially if you're at a time in life where you're busy. But you can also put a lot in if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
So,
Totally agree. Anyway, Bart, we need to get applications from everybody else in the campaign.
Okay, I'll start working them.
Yep.
Go
Hillary should participate with this too.
I'm sorry.
And I
the
think you wound up
campaign or
with
clan.
Yes.
and you may
I
have
prefer
actually
fellowship.
two. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm stepping on you.
Now, go ahead, Jerry.
I was going to say, you were talking about applications. I did fill the online application out, but I think you're going to actually wind up with two applications from me because I didn't completely fill out the first one and it
That's
submitted
okay.
somehow.
And also, just to be clear, Rob is our club administrator for the Alpharetta Club, so he runs that website, and so he is the only one that is going to see and receive your your applications right now. So I will see them at some point because I'm what they call the guiding lion for the club, and then the district governor will see them at one point. But my point is like your information is protected. First of all, it's a secure website, and next we have privacy policies that basically will not let us do anything that is not explicitly related to the business of the club with your information. So this is not, nobody can sell a list or anything else like that.
I wasn't too awful concerned about what you guys were going to do with it. I figured you were on the up and up on those.
We seem like we're on the up and up, but with people that wear weird "Life is Good" shirts and have crazy hair color like Lindsay, and
I have both at the moment.
yeah.
and
I'm
I
doing
think
both at the moment.
and I think it was Gus who said something earlier about oldest in the room. I may give you a run for the money on that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
I don't mind a little competition. I always am the least mature, and I find out I'm chronologically the oldest. So I might as well say it now. I'm 55.
I got you beat.
Yeah.
Oh, all
by
right.
a bit. By a bit.
Wait.
So-
Are you
Coordinator.
referring to the age, or no? Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So actually, we have a number of 50 somethings because you got Gus, you got me, you got Chris, you got Rob, and obviously Jerry, you too. So
Well, no. Jerry's a bit more. Jerry may retire in a couple of years.
Jerry, I tried to give you 3 years, but you just threw it away.
That's right. But I will say, I heard a lot of people saying I can do this or that for the club. I'm a technical editor by trade, and so I am willing to offer those skills up for anything that the club wants to put out and publish in publications or whatever.
I appreciate that. That'd be great. Yep. And any network infrastructure stuff that we need, we'll get Bart to take care of. So I'm not sure that we're gonna need too much. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and send over a couple Dixie cups. And we got some string. Bart, you can handle that, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've
Okay,
got some
good.
strings, so yeah.
So Bart, what layer would you say the string and cups are?
Oh, that's going to definitely still be layer 1.
Absolutely.
I believe I'm tall enough to be used as a cell tower.
All right.
Goose is definitely the tallest gamer at our shop. So without a
great.
doubt. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. I think we've gone over everything. Would love to get your applications in. Talk to your friends that you'd like to participate with us with this. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. So definitely as quickly as possible. Let's get those applications in and done. Okay.
A quick question before it ends, though.
Is this about Urza?
No, not this time.
What about Mishra?
Mishra's fine. The applications that we were given in paper, at least a few of us were, at least I was.
We're done. You don't need to send anything else in.
Awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You're taken care of. All right. Well, everybody, I really appreciate your time today, and I am totally available for any additional questions that might pop up. But would appreciate your telling your friends, and let's get this thing off the ground as quickly as possible. All right.
Sounds good.
Oh, sounds great. Thank you for all the hard work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thanks for organizing this. This is going to be great.
It will. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you. Yep. All right. Bye, y'all.